The power of silent execution. Why talking about your goals can hold you back. Think about the last time you decided to change your life. Maybe you wanted to start a business, write a book, get in shape, learn a new skill, or simply become a better version of yourself. What did you do first? Did you start working? Or did you tell someone? Maybe you called a friend, maybe you told your family, maybe you posted it online. Big things are coming. I'm starting something new. This is going to change my life. And then something interesting happened. People encouraged you. They told you they believed in you. They called you ambitious. They imagined your future success with you. And for a moment, you felt amazing. You felt motivated. You felt proud, almost as if you had already accomplished something. But then a few days passed. The excitement faded. The alarm rang in the morning and you hit snooze. The blank document stayed blank. The gym shoes stayed in the corner. The business idea remained an idea. And eventually, the dream became another unfinished plan. So what happened? Were you lazy? Did you lack discipline? Or did your mind give you something you wanted a little too early? Because sometimes the most dangerous reward isn't failure. It's feeling successful before you've actually done the work. There is a simple story that explains this beautifully. Imagine a young man named Simon. Simon had enormous ambitions. Every few weeks, he discovered a new dream. One week, he wanted to open a shop. The next, he wanted to become a skilled craftsman. Then he wanted to build a beautiful house. But Simon had one unusual habit. Whenever he had a new idea, he immediately told everyone. He would walk through the village saying, "One day I'm going to build the biggest shop here." People smiled. They praised him. They told him how successful he would become. Simon went home feeling proud, and that feeling felt like progress. But the next morning, the actual work was still waiting. There were no customers, no shop, no money, no building, just a dream. And the excitement slowly disappeared. So Simon found another dream. Again he announced it, again people praised him, again he felt important, and again he didn't do the work. Years passed. Simon became very good at describing the life he wanted, but he wasn't very good at building it. Eventually, he began wondering, what is wrong with me? One evening, Simon sat alone beside an old well. An elderly man from the village noticed him. The elder sat beside him and asked, "Why do you look so troubled?" Simon sighed. "I have so many dreams," he said, "but I never finish anything." The elder looked at him quietly. Then he asked, "What do you do whenever you have a new dream?" Simon answered immediately, "I tell everyone." "Why?" Simon paused. "Because I want people to know what I'm going to become." The elder smiled. "Come with me tomorrow." The next morning, the elder took Simon into his garden. He placed 2 seeds in Simon's hand. "Plant the first one." Simon dug a small hole. He placed the seed into the soil. Then he covered it. The elder pointed toward the second seed. "Now imagine this one becomes a magnificent tree." Simon smiled. The elder continued, "Tell everyone about it." So Simon imagined the tree. He imagined its branches, its fruit, its shade. He imagined people standing beneath it, admiring what he had created. But there was one problem. The seed was never planted. It remained exposed. Days passed. The buried seed received water. It remained hidden. Nobody admired it. Nobody praised it. Nobody even knew it was there. But slowly, something began happening underground. The shell broke. Roots appeared. A tiny shoot pushed through the soil. Meanwhile, the exposed seed remained exactly what it had always been, a seed. Because imagination could describe the tree, praise could celebrate the tree, but neither could grow the tree. Only the work could do that. Simon stared at the small plant. The elder said, "Your dreams are like this. They are fragile in the beginning. They need time, they need effort, and sometimes they need silence." Now here's where the story becomes much more interesting, because this isn't really about seeds. It's about the human mind. When you set a goal, you create a gap between who you are now and who you want to become. That gap can be uncomfortable, and that discomfort can be useful. It reminds you, I haven't arrived yet. So you work, you practice, you improve, you keep going. But imagine you tell someone about your goal. They get excited. They praise you. They say, you're going to be amazing. You're so ambitious. I know you'll succeed. Suddenly, you experience something powerful. You don't just imagine the future anymore. Other people are imagining it with you. And for a moment, you get to experience the identity of the person you want to become. You wanted to become a writer. Now people see you as someone writing a book. You wanted to become fit. Now people see you as someone committed to fitness. You wanted to become an entrepreneur. Now people see you as someone building a business. The result hasn't arrived, but the social reward has. And that's where things can become dangerous, because the brain loves rewards. And sometimes the emotional satisfaction of talking about the goal can reduce the discomfort that was pushing you toward action. You haven't finished the journey, but you already received a little applause for being on it. And suddenly, the hard work feels less urgent. This is why potential can be so addictive. Potential is beautiful because it has no evidence yet. You can imagine yourself becoming anything. You can describe the future perfectly, and nobody can prove you wrong because you haven't started. But the moment you begin working, reality enters the picture. Now you can fail. Now you can make mistakes. Now you can discover that you're not as good as you imagined. Now you have to repeat boring tasks again and again and again. This is where dreams stop being fantasies and start becoming commitments. Motivation says, I feel ready. Commitment says, I'll continue even when I don't. Motivation loves the beginning. Commitment survives the middle. And the middle is where most dreams die. But let's be clear. I'm not saying you should never tell anyone your goals. Sometimes sharing a goal is exactly what you need. A mentor can guide you. A coach can challenge you. A trusted friend can hold you accountable. A team needs communication. The important question is, why are you sharing it? Because you need support or because you want validation? Validation says, tell me I'm going to succeed. Accountability says, ask me whether I've done the work. Validation makes you feel good. Accountability can make you uncomfortable. And sometimes that discomfort is exactly what you need. A real accountability partner doesn't just say, you've got this. They ask, you said you were going to do it, so what did you actually do today?
There's another reason to protect your unfinished goals. Not everyone deserves access to your imagination. Some people will doubt you, some will laugh, some will project their own limitations onto you, and some will give you so many opinions that you eventually stop hearing your own voice. When an idea is still fragile, too many outside opinions can make it difficult to know whether you're following your own vision or someone else's fear. So sometimes silence isn't secrecy, it's protection. You're giving yourself enough space to discover what you actually want. Simon eventually understood this. He went home and chose one simple project, a wooden chair. This time, he told nobody. No announcement, no promises, no audience. Just wood, tools, and his hands. Every evening after his daily work, Simon practiced. Some days he was tired, some days he made mistakes. Sometimes the chair looked terrible, but nobody knew. So he didn't have to perform. He didn't have to prove anything. He simply had to work. Day after day, the chair slowly changed. And something else changed too. Simon stopped asking, do people believe I can do this? He started asking, did I do the work today? That question transformed him, because now his confidence wasn't coming from people's reactions. It was coming from evidence. One small action, then another, then another.
Weeks later, the chair was finished. Simon sat on it, and he felt something completely different. Not the temporary excitement of being praised for what he might accomplish. Something deeper, real pride. Because this time, he had evidence. He had actually done it. Eventually, his neighbor saw the chair. Simon, when did you make this? Simon smiled. I've been working on it. He never told anyone. Simon looked at the chair. I wanted to finish it first. And that became his new way of living. He built a table, quietly, then a shelf, quietly, then another chair, quietly. Years passed. People eventually recognized Simon as a skilled craftsman, but he no longer needed to announce what he was becoming. His work announced it for him. And perhaps that's one of the strongest forms of confidence, when you stop explaining yourself because your actions have already explained you. Now think about your own life. How many goals have you announced but never started? How many times have you talked about changing your life and felt strangely satisfied simply because someone believed in you? How many times have you enjoyed imagining your future self more than you enjoy doing the work required to become that person? Maybe the problem isn't that you lack motivation. Maybe you've been giving yourself the reward too early. You've been celebrating the possibility instead of building the reality.
And there is a simple way to change that. The next time you have a big idea, don't immediately ask, who should I tell? Ask, what is the first thing I can do? Don't announce the book. Write the first page. Don't announce the business. Build the first part. Don't announce the transformation. Start the first habit. Don't spend all your energy explaining the future when you could be building it. Because we live in a world that rewards performance. We announce our plans, we share our ambitions, we show our progress. We want people to see who we are becoming. But real transformation often happens when nobody is watching. In the quiet morning, in the boring repetition, in the private failure, in the decision to try again. That's where identity is actually built. Not by saying, this is who I am, but by repeatedly doing the things that make it true. So don't become addicted to the feeling of potential. Don't confuse applause with progress. Don't confuse talking with building. And don't confuse the person you imagine becoming with the person your daily actions are actually creating. You don't have to hide every dream. You simply don't have to perform every dream. Share it when sharing creates accountability. Protect it when outside attention becomes a distraction. And most importantly, let your actions speak before your words do. Because one day, you may not need to tell anyone what you've been working on. They'll see it. They'll see the book, the business, the skill, the stronger body, the changed life. And they'll ask, when did you do all this? And you can simply smile. Because while they were hearing your words, you were building the evidence. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your next big move, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, do I want the satisfaction of being seen as someone who will do it? Or do I want the satisfaction of becoming someone who actually did it? Sometimes the most powerful announcement is silence. Work quietly, build patiently, let the seed grow. And when the tree finally stands, you won't need to explain what happened underground. The tree will speak for you.